and welcome. I'm Melissa Reaves, and I will be helping you with your pitches, your 99 seconds. And we're going to have a lot of fun. That's the goal. So we're just going to give you some tips today, just to give you an idea of how we approach the 99 seconds. Now, can I just see like a raise of hands or something on, has anyone done a 99-second pitch like this before? John has. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Good. It's good to have us, you guys. This is your elevator pitch. So I'm going to let you know that I am intentionally not going to look you up. I am not going to look at your company prior, so that when we have our first meeting, I'm that person in the elevator. I'm that person who has no idea what you do. And so let's see how you explain that. So that's good. So you can come prepared with a 99-second, or you can just do what you've been doing. That's totally fine. So I'm going to share my screen and some sound, and we're going to move it over here, and we'll just get to it. So you can see it?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. So just a little bit about me, just for a second. So I've been in 20 years in sales, marketing, ad tech, and I've always been an actor. And when I went to, it was about 2 years ago, where I was attending the Seattle University's business plan competition, and couldn't help but notice that they were doing a great job with the problem, the solution, the addressable market, the traction. And that's all necessary, especially when you're doing a pitch in front of an investment company. But there was no story. There was nothing that was like connecting the audience to what the speaker was trying to do. And here we go. And there was one guy named Caleb Carr who got up there and told a story of how he came into being for his company. It's called Vita Inclinata. And his story was so authentic and so real that I heard it secondhand and said, I want to invest. And I did. And he's worth almost $500 million now. So when you tell a really good story, there is serious money that can go on the table. I have clients that have landed over 35 million because they infused stories into their wonderful presentations because they needed to get the audience to connect to them. So it's serious. It's really like, people are like, oh, you do storytelling for business? I'm like, I sure do. So that's what we're going to be trying to help you with your pitch. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, and I do storytelling. So I walk my talk. You may have seen me on The Moth or these other shows that you can see. So I'm constantly writing, reading, performing, storytelling. And there you go. It is so when we tell our story, it's a little bit of sales, marketing, branding, because you're the face of the company. So that all has to be there. But there is also a little bit of acting. And so I've been an actor my entire life too. So I will at times be teaching you how, when we're creating your narrative, how you might color it a little bit more, push yourself a little bit more to give the audience more of a feel that they're in this story with them. Because why? And you guys can, if you want to just unmic, but what is it about stories that captivate us? Why bother with a story?
Well, they're emotional, and they help people identify with concepts. That's human nature, is we identify through a story, that it helps us like personally see ourselves in that story.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's how we've evolved to make sense of the world and our place in it.
Yeah, definitely. How we evolve into it. It can also be a situation where we might not actually live through a situation, but we can empathize with the situation. Example could be life sciences or something, where they're developing cures for cancer. And hopefully I will never have cancer or know anyone close, but I might. But the story could still just pull me in because it's told so well that I would be empathetic and would want to contribute to the funding of that kind of company. So yeah, okay. And it actually ignites the brain. So it actually has a biochemical reaction in us. So if you skip the story, if you walk up and you just start doing pie charts, you only will get our brains to operate about 5% level. We can see the numbers, we can hear your words, but we're not going to hear you anymore because we're trying to figure out your X and your Y axis and how it moves up and why'd you pick that color and all that sort of stuff. So you really are at a loss if you're coming up from behind the 8 ball if you're not really coming in with a story. And depending on what your product is, also is what these hormones are going. So if you have a product that, you know, you really want to pull the heartstrings, you might hear me saying, this is oxytocin. Like this, the way we're going to deliver this story is going to try and get that hormone to go flying forward because we just need to go in full throttle. But you might have a more lighthearted, I don't know your products yet, might be fun, something to do with parties or something, and that might be endorphin, dopamine. I will figure that out with you. Really great storytellers do a little bit of all of it. You know, it might be fun and fast paced, but then it slows down and it gets serious. But that is some of the science art to really good storytelling is you've got to know what you want them to emotionally feel, and then we'll make sure that your story is going to go into that form into their brain. Oh, and down here, there's a gentleman on TED Talk, David Phillips, and he does a great job at showing it. I don't have time today to show you what he means, but I do recommend it. It's a wonderful TED Talk. And we kind of just went through this. But stories sell, okay? The bottom line, they sell when you use them in your business use cases. And we nailed it earlier. And the other thing, there was this one time, I'm gonna talk where I was at a forum where there was a gentleman and we were in this room, in this conference room of a hotel, about 200 angel investors. Stakes were really high because these guys that were going to present were all heavily invested already. They'd spent thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to present to these angels investors. And I noticed this one man, and he was like this huge Kodiak bear-sized guy, and he had a silver coat on, and he had his badge on, and you could tell he did not want to be in that room. You could tell he would much rather be in the lab looking at petri dishes and figuring out really complex problems, but he was so good at what he was doing because he was curing cancer, literally, ovarian cancer, and he was just cowered by the wall. And I walked up to him and I introduced myself and I said, good luck today. And he's like, thanks. What do you do? I'm a public speaking coach. Oh God. And it just takes off. Like he did not want to talk to me. He was really nervous. So when they introduce him, and they clearly introduced him, he walks up to the mic and he reintroduces himself, not necessary. And the first thing he did was he showed a giant screen of a rat, a lab rat, with a tumor on his thigh and a whole bunch of graphs. And literally, we're eating our lunch. We were like, And that's when I knew swing and a miss. Right? That was an unfortunate opportunity that he could have come in with another angle. And I'm going to show you another way that he could have come in that would have been much more compelling. Oh, someone's phone. He could have come in with a story. For instance, Sarah's looking out the window and she's nervous. She's 42 years old and she's trying to find her keys, but she can't find her keys because she's going to get late to pick up Bobby and Sally at soccer. And she's scattered right now because she just got some really bad news. And the news was that she just got diagnosed with very aggressive ovarian cancer. And she looks at the Christmas tree. It looks big this year. She doesn't know if she's going to see that tree next year. She's scared. But we at Pharma Life are finding ways to help Sally. That plight that she has where she would have to take tons of medicines and chemo and surgery are not going to be as likely now because of the work that we are doing. Take a look at our lab rat. See, now you could bring in something that's a graph, that's something that like we're leaning in a little bit more. Now that's longer than a 99-second. I'm going a little long on that, but my point is that I want to help you create characters that have real problems, and you're creating a mind movie in that. Did you see Sarah? Could you feel Sarah's nervousness? That's what you want to do, is you want to have your characters kind of come alive. So please don't introduce yourself. So when we're doing the show, you have 99 seconds, and there's this little moment when Nick introduces you that the audience is excited. They're like, okay, what do they got? You know? And when people like go, okay, hi, I'm the CEO of this company, we already knew that, and you kind of like lose this moment of tension. So just go ahead and get started right with your story and move in. And the slide selections that you have will also back up to try to give that emotional feel that you're going for. So when I keep saying mind movies, the reason what I'm doing is I'm trying to create the images in your head. It's really fun. Once you realize how powerful storytelling is, you have kind of an obligation too. So if I'm going to tell you a story, I better tell it well. And so when I was telling the data guy, the Dr. Data rat guy, I tried to describe him. I wanted you to feel the room. I wanted you to feel the tension. I wanted you to feel his nervousness. And then the swing and the miss with the lab rat. I was controlling every image in your head as the storyteller. But as you're doing this, we're going to slip in the business facts. So in this, like typically, when we're looking at stuff, we see this is the problem, this is the solution, as I said earlier. We're going to do this through a narrative in 99 seconds, but we're going to show like your business platform, your business model. It's going to get in there, but just not quite in your face right away. And I'm going to show you a really good example of someone at the end of this that it'll all tie together. Practice. So you get 2 half-hour sessions with me. Okay, the first session is going to be a mining session. The second session is going to be a polish section, and I will help you, give you some guidance on your slides as well, but definitely practice. I've only had one person since I started doing this that did not make their time, and they didn't practice, and they didn't show up for their second meeting. So that second meeting is really, really important. And I also recommend when you do the first one, give yourself space before you book again, and give yourself even space before the show, because we may still have some tweaks. We might not, but we might have some tweaks. So I'd like to say to have your second meeting at no later than 2 days prior to the show. Because if we do a little revamp, it's rare, but if we do, you still now have time to get it polished. The more you practice also, the less nervous you'll be. You'll nail it. But don't worry about memorizing it, and please don't read it. Do not read it. People, you're good for votes, and people will they can tell you're reading. So definitely that's another reason to practice.
How can they tell, Melissa? We're broadcasting live. We can have cue cards. I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
No, but I know, and I'm seeing it a lot.
I know. They'll take it from the tone. I know. I'm teasing you.
Yeah. You're right, though.
I'll get this guy to hold up cue cards. I'm good. From behind the camera, like this live television.
Those are the secrets. Those are the secrets. Yeah. Well, it is. You can't have notes. Like no one's going to see this. You are making a point, but I want you to look into the camera, right? Because this camera is now the new 2D eyes.
I know.
And if they see you doing this, how sincere does that look?
Well, I forget which event. It might not have been Seattle, but there was one where in the last, couple months where it was just pretty obvious this person was reading. And we're now talking, even though we're not in person, it's a percentage of like, this doesn't feel or hear, I don't hear it right because they're like, da, 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 and da, 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 da. So what Melissa's saying is with practice, you actually start to fully embrace your message. And if you have some notes sitting over here, that's fine. But you're reciting the pitch just like you would like in a room of investors or like in front of 200, 300 people in a real room versus like, does that make sense? It's just
totally. Yeah, I'm spending like gobs of time on Zoom, whether it's moderating things or teaching or meetings with clients. So like, I'm familiar with the transition, but I do agree with you. You can tell when there isn't the attempts. And I mean, Melissa, a question for you, with this switch of formats, what I'd be curious, and I know we'll kind of get into this, but how do I put this? What areas require more emphasis and more intention as before? Like, because we've lost some of the sensory elements of a live experience. And so I'm curious about that, your perspective with the transition, because I think, again, we've, in some ways, there's pros and cons, but I'm curious about your areas of focus, again, from a sensory storytelling perspective.
Right. Yes. So because we're 2D, it's a great question. Because we are now 2D, more reasons why your storytelling skills need to be enhanced. So you need to be vivid, you need to be very clear, using your voice. Even you can lean into the camera sometimes. I mean, you can dramatically like use your hands, but we're losing that energy. And it gets even a little strange because as soon as Nick introduces you and he will go off stage, you'll see it. I'm going to show an example. It goes quiet.
Yeah.
So there's something like you're like, am I talking to the ethers? But when you're practicing, you are too, right? So that should feel familiar. Look at it like that. Like this is just the world. But then when Nick comes back on and he introduces you, you will have that feel. But yeah, the live audience is now a stream of chats, right? And so you're not going to be seeing it that much, but during questions and answers, they get really into it. And he's a great interviewer, so you'll feel good. Just stay calm, look into the camera, and that's your energy. That's your energy. But it's not that bad, but we better just embrace it. So did that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay, great question though. Okay, so this is just what we were trying to do. So when we're creating your character story or your hero story, it could be your story. It could be your own founder story, like how you got into this company. That is a common one, and I love it. That's why my company is called Story Fruition, like how'd you come into be? And so what we're doing is there was a moment. So like going back to the doctor that I talked about, there was a moment in that man's life where he realized that ovarian cancer could get fixed. He could fix it. He knew someone, and he realized in the labs at some point that he's got to do this. Okay, that's the aha moment. Now, what we need to do though is start. So we're going to start with your story, and whoever your characters is, if it's you or if it's a patient or whoever your target market is, they're in one state, and we're going to get them to the other state. And the way we do that is we do a well-written, crafted narrative. And so we'll set up their situation. So Sarah's nervous. She's looking out the window. I dropped in some data. She's got to pick up Bobby and Sally at soccer. I didn't say she's a soccer mom. I showed you she's a soccer mom with just that one sentence. And then something happens. She got diagnosed. Her life is about to change. And because of that, she's got pills in front of her, chemo in front of her. She looks at the Christmas tree. She doesn't know if she's even going to see it, right? And then enter the company. We're going to fix it. We've seen tremendous results, and we can normalize her life a lot sooner than we've ever seen before. Okay, all of that was happening in that little snippet, and now she has hope. And now she's scared still. I could have kept going. She's still scared, but she's not terrified because she's in good hands. Okay? That's what we're trying to do in a business narrative. So we'll go, wah. Okay. So I think I pretty much said that. So this is just something that's standard in storytelling. So if you don't have all four of these going in your mind movie making, it's like a table that's not on all four legs. So we've got to have the character. We've got to describe them enough. Sarah is a soccer mom. That's all I needed to say. I didn't need to say she's blonde haired and 5'6". You need to do that. Didn't need to go that far. You can do that. And then her relationships with her kids, her relationship with her own being, and her relationship will soon come to the doctor. And what are they doing? What's at stake? Obviously, this was a life and death matter. And also, where are you? So you can do sentences where, to help your mind movies, I could have said, Sarah is looking out the window, but I said she's frantically looking for her keys. Okay, I just did a little action for her in that particular example. But when you don't have any of these, especially, so you're using sight, sounds, feelings, touch, feel, there's all sorts of things that you can bring in that create the mind movie. Once we're through that, It's the Q&A. So I'm only 99 seconds with you. Nick's got you for 4 minutes, and it's extemporaneous. Many of the questions that you're going to hear, Nick, you can definitely chime in here. These are some of the normal ones that we see. Do you want to give some guidance?
It's a 99-second pitch and then 4 minutes of questions. These are fielded now as a virtual event. We stream this through YouTube. And what's great is then the way that we field questions is through the YouTube comments. They actually sync into our system, and then we will we'll put them on the screen. And so the questions that we're addressing are literally visible on the screen. And what you're going to experience is things such as whether this is a good question or not. It's like, how do you make money? And honestly, if someone comes right out after you just did a 99-second pitch and is like, well, how do you make money? I'm going to tell you right now, you didn't deliver a great 99-second pitch for your business if you're not illustrating that there's a revenue model and here's the relationship of that. But it's like, how do you make money? What's your, business model? Competitors. A pretty common one is people are a lot of times when people see pitches like this, they're going to try to track to something similar. So how are you different than such and such in the market? That's a great question, actually, because now they're like, oh, okay, I've seen, this is like this, but it's different because of that. And they're going to want to ask you that question. So that's great. How can I get involved? What are you looking for is another one. So be prepared to really say like, hey, what we're looking for is some beta customers. What we're looking for is, if you're looking for investment, feel free to just say, hey, we're raising money right now and we're looking for some investors. You don't need to detail the terms. Who's your team? So who's behind this? If you haven't addressed that, so you're going to get any questions just because like that's what they're curious. Just feel free to, these are the things that you want to just prepare for in the background as you prepare for the 99-second pitch. Understand that there's like the bottom of the iceberg is what people are going to want to be asking about too.
And many questions you probably have already been answering, But your audience, I think it's important for you to know that your audience is mixed with all sorts of people. So there are job seekers, so there's talent out there. There are investors. There are advisors. Those are good ones. And when we show you this example coming up, you're going to see how she told a story and slips in all that business model information in it. Okay, you're going to see all that. So
one more thing I would say is that it's actually okay, and it's a very good answer to just say, if it's live, like, look, we have a live event and things move quickly. If you get a question that you're not 100% sure of, just be honest and say, hey, great question. I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to give any misleading, answer or thoughts. Message me on the chat, or like I can address it later. But figure out a way to be able to like kind of move from that question with an honest, like, I don't know, or I'm not, prepared to answer that right now. That's much better than like, trying to squeeze through it and just come out and say, great question. I don't have all that information for you right now. Message me later and we'll get that question answered. And that's perfect. And then we move on.
Yeah. Don't fake it.
Right.
Quick
question, Melissa and Nick. Supplemental slides during Q&A, or Q&A, is that just person to moderate or unit?
That's a good question. So you can have, if you choose to structure your deck, I would kind of have the glossary or whatever you want to index, or the appendix. But the weird thing, this is just a slight weird thing with StreamYard, is depending on the machine you're using and even like the slides, like basically, and we'll talk about this the day we're going to do a practice a couple days before the event, just using StreamYard. That's the system we use, and it's pretty simple. Awesome. But basically, when you go and present, there, like sometimes it takes, when you're in present mode, your slides are literally your entire screen. So you will not be able to see me, but you'll be able to hear and also walk through your slides. So then when you're done, if you hit escape, we're going to go back to your camera. And so it'd be you and me on the video. You're essentially, your slides can be sitting there, but they're not going to be in present mode. So this will make a lot more sense when we practice. But the point is,
and you'll see it.
It's like, there's really only like an experience where you're not seeing anything on your screen except your slides.
Sure,
or
sure.
You're seeing us like this right now on
Yeah,
camera.
no, it makes sense. It's just like a kind of like a webinar, Zoom webinar, as opposed to a Zoom meeting. Sounds like
Right.
Goes off.
So
yeah, I get it.
yeah, so that's the long answer. The short answer is, if you want to have an appendix, feel free to. Yes.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get real, like, encouraging you to keep your slides as simple as possible.
Right.
So yeah, I know you've already read this, but like you're gonna see some examples from the Sharon that we're gonna show you. But
like
I have advice.
TED Talk level of detail.
Yeah, just like just simple images.
Visuals.
Like every time you make us read, you lose us. Now, in this seminar, I had you reading stuff, but that's okay. This is a different kind of workshop. This is like, we're going to talk about it. It's fine. But you have 99 seconds to change the world and win votes, okay?
And don't make the part of the brain that tunes into storytelling, which is a
keep us,
part of the brain.
Yep, exactly. So I have advised, and I will now, have your, if you have a decent team or some advisors, you know, maybe pictures and just their names, but don't make them like so busy. And then maybe during questions and answers, that could be up there for a little bit. But they're going to be taking screenshots and things. So your last contact page needs to be your address, your socials, if you have them. Make sure that they can find you. Okay? And we'll show you again. Now, Nick, I have this in here. Do you still want the slides the day before, or is it okay? Do they have to keep doing that? Because it's changed since we started going StreamYard. They're running out slides.
Yeah, it's one of those where, so you're, you know, as a presenter, you're running your own slide deck, but just as a safe measure, please just send us a copy, you know, essentially the day before the event, so that if there's any issues about having trouble sharing your screen, your internet's slow or whatever, we would have a copy so we could pull up your slides. And you can just say, hey, advance each slide, you know.
And
this is
you know what?
Safe measure.
I'm going to be the one that knows. I'm the only one that knows your stuff. Should they CC me so that you don't have to worry about when to turn the slides? Because I would probably know better if that happened.
Yeah, but just that becomes a level.
Another tech. Okay. All right.
So just send us slides, a copy, and
may the tech gods stay in our favor. We haven't had anything like that happen. So okay. All right. So we're going to show you. Okay, so this was in our April show, and you can get an idea of kind of how it works.
Great job. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
See you later. I love it.
Dan, how you doing, my man?
Hey, this is going pretty well. I'm very excited about all the pitches that we've heard so far. Just one more left, right?
Just one more left.
Hello, Sharon. How are you? Sharon is with Go Love Yourself, and her website is thegoloveyourselfbox.com. Sharon, take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. So Sharon is 32 years old, and she's had it. She feels like she's too young to run out, yet here she is on her own personal hamster wheel of hell. She pours her coffee long before the sun rises and barely even notices when the sun has set. Her anger, depression, and anxiety are through the roof. She pops Xanax to make it through the morning and Ambien to make it through the night, and she's never felt more alone. She knows that life can be more beautiful than this, and she knows that something's got to change. Have you ever felt like this? Have you ever scrolled through Facebook or Instagram feeling pangs of envy, thinking, I wish I could do cool shit like that, or man, it must be nice. I wish I could take a break. That's where Go Love Yourself comes in. For a monthly subscription, I send you a toolkit to help you on your journey. You'll get transformational self-help books, journaling prompts, one-on-one coaching, and join a community of like-minded people who realize that there's more to life than the grind. What started as a humble social media campaign has brought us some serious attention, including unprompted unboxings from Ariana Huffington, Good Morning America, and most recently, we were named a top self-care strategy by Oprah Magazine. We're building a community that's empowering the calm, empathetic leaders we desperately need today and setting the stage for the empowered and enlightened leaders we even more desperately need tomorrow. I'm looking for investors and advisors who can help me to grow this powerful little community that I've built into a transformational platform that will change the lives of millions of women across the globe. I'm Sharon, the founder of Go Love Yourself, and I'm standing in front of you 2 years later, proof that this works. Sharon is calm, journaling with Earl Grey each morning, and meditating with chamomile each night. Thank you, and I hope you'll give us your vote.
Great job, Sharon. So good. All right, we are taking your questions. Throw them in the comments. Sharon, tell us a little bit more about, is there any specific focus, like how narrowly focused are you, or how wide is this in terms of, self-care?
Great question. So every single month I curate a thematic box. So the themes change every month based on what I'm hearing from my community, what great new transformational self-help books are coming out, and generally what's happening in that time of the year. So some themes that we've include the sleep revolution when folks were really stressed out. We just featured Untamed, which is a brand new book that just came out last month and has been really, really successful, both in our community and outside of it. So we really do listen to our community members and what we need.
Awesome. Alicia says, what challenges have you faced as a
notice
woman-owned
the banner
business?
is over the bottom of the slide, so you want to make sure.
One, as I recognize the challenges that so many women-owned businesses face, that's why we source almost all of our products and services actually from other women-owned businesses. So we support.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. But I hope that gives you an idea. But you can see that this has. I didn't realize that at that point in the show. I think this was our first stream. So in your contact page, just make sure you have everything up just lifted, just in case someone answers that or sends the question out, because it's likely to happen.
Yeah, I mean, these are all the little details that we're experiencing now, but I wish StreamYard, I wish it sensed because those are called banners, that we use banners, and then that's the questions, right? So you'll see we're pulling the question from the YouTube chat, which is incredible. I love this aspect of the product. But it does it's frustrating when it overlays. It would be great if it bumped it up. You know what I mean? It just like the moment we click that and it arrives on screen, it would be cool if the slides actually move up. And so it didn't overlay anything, but clearly that's not it. So be aware of that. Be aware of that, everyone. Last thing I would say on this, Sharon did a great job, incredible job.
70% of the votes.
Yeah, she did really good. I will say that one thing that popped out is in watching this later, she did not clearly illustrate what their price point is. And I'm not sure if that was a question that was addressed later, but if I was going to tweak this, I would only go back and have her more clearly illustrate like what that price point is versus it's clear that it's a subscription model, but what is it, $100 a month or is it $15 a month? That's a difference.
We did talk about that, and it's pricey. She's pricier than other clubs, and so she didn't want to, but that's fair. Yeah, and that's fair.
That's her choice. I think when you look at a pitch like this, it's your choice if you want. How directly clear do you want to make that illustration? From my standpoint, from where I'm at or as an investor, I would just be like, okay, that's some pretty serious information that I would want to know to continually have this conversation. So you want to include it just choose it.
Well, but in the Q&A for sure. But I hear what you're saying, but in 99 seconds, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was because she thought she was pricey. Right. I don't remember. We could keep going, but you guys, this was the April 24th show. If you want to go look at it, she was the last speaker. But you can just get a better feel for it. But did you notice her character? And did you notice the way her slides were? She held on the slide of the woman crying, and she told her story and just held it there. And then she introduced her thing, and her slides were like an Instagram picture. It was really beautiful, very clear, simple, no words really. And then the Ariana Huffington, because she just casually mentioned that happened. I'm like, are you kidding me? So during the interview, I'm like, you got to brag that, girl. And so she did a really nice job.
Huge social proof.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call social proof. And, rather than saying we have X amount of subscribers, like putting that on the screen, people are like, whoa, okay, this is serious.
Yeah, that's show, don't tell. That's a show, don't tell moment when she did that. So, and then she had she tied it in at the end too. That's what I love about it, is that she sets up Sharon, which was her, and her life was depressed. She was overworked. She was taking Ambien in the morning and Xanax at night, or Xanax in the morning and Ambien at night. Great image. She was on her hamster wheel of hell. Great image. The grind, when she was picking very strong words to let people know what she was going through. But then at the end, when she'd done all her business pitch, she said, and now I'm proof. 2 years later, I'm journaling and drinking chamomile at night. And so she had a full circle of that character having that transformation that I talked about. Very subtle, but very crafted. All right. Are there any other questions?
This is just a good example of, and it's funny that maybe we haven't described it this way, but look, your 99-second pitch is not about the how, it's why.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sharon's is a very good example of, if you have a minute and a half, you want to impact people on why you exist as a company and a product, less than you want to describe how you do it. Like, people want to know why first and then how. And I think, unfortunately, our natural inclination, especially in our industry, but just in general, is we want to jump into the how. We're this company and this is what we do and this is how we do it. No. Take Sharon's approach and literally show why, wrap in a little bit of we're a business and here's how we make money and this is how big we can get. But then boom. And then now you have 4 minutes to address the it's essentially a iceberg, that there's a lot under there that you can pick and choose depending on what the questions are. But she did a very good illustration of the why, and I think that was great.